Hey guys, today is Monday, and it's actually the 8th, I believe, already. Yes, it's the 8th. This month is just flying by. Today is our Reiki Restorative class, and what we're going to kind of like contemplate on today before we engage in our class is knowing ourselves better, which is really truly what spirituality is. A lot of people think spirituality is like this one particular path or another, or it's shamanism, or it's, doing yoga, or it's um, different ways that we engage within that space that have labels or names or um, things that we can follow the rules and achieve, certain levels of spirituality or whatever. And spirituality is really simply about knowing yourself better. That's it. It's just about knowing yourself fully and completely as possible. So just like if you think about when you very first meet somebody that you have a big crush on and you're just super infatuated with them and you want to know everything about them. You want to know every little detail. That's how we should be treating ourselves. We should want to know every little aspect of ourselves. It really aids and assists in our ability to be self aware. And it also is really helpful in knowing our heart and knowing what we want, how we want to express ourselves, what the desire of the heart is, and all of those kinds of things. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom, Aristotle said. Matya Tringlev said, I'm playing a game of hide and seek with myself, for I have hidden myself in everything that is. And for the sake of the game, I am pretending I don't know where I am and that I've forgotten who I am. It's my favorite game. Finding and discovering myself over and over again in different expressions of my own existence brings me great joy and pleasure. Even if I am sometimes so devoted to playing this game with myself that I end up pretending not to enjoy it. Because sometimes we get so lost in the game of life that we fail to look at it from that broader perspective and recognizing what things are really all about. And it's up to us to create that relationship with ourselves. And to do that, it requires an investment of time and energy and effort and ability to come back to the self. So just thinking about how well do you know yourself today? How well do you know your own heart? How well would you say that you know those most intimate parts of your own being, even the parts of ourselves that we sometimes want to hide or shelter away from the world? How much do you know about yourself? It's so important. It's really, I think, the main reason we're here is just to get to know ourselves better and to create the life, the quality of life that we want to experience from within that knowledge. And so, I really want you guys to think about today, how well do I know myself? What are those areas of my being that I push to the background that I don't want to know as much about because I find it embarrassing or my conditioning tells me it's bad? Like um, understanding my sexuality, understanding who and what I am in relationships and how I function within that space, knowing the parts of the expressions of my being that I choose to suppress because I think they're not necessarily palatable for the general public. What is that stuff about myself? What are the things? And it doesn't have to necessarily be things that we consider to be embarrassing or shameful or anything. It's just the most simple things, the little things. What are the things that bring me joy? What are the things that make me sad? What are the things that get me excited about my day? What are the things that bring fear into my experience? The more we know about ourselves, the more we can actively operate from within our own being to support and uplift all of those aspects of ourselves. If we recognize that potentially one area that needs a little bit of help and assistance, then we can do what we need to do and make the choices and take the actions that are necessary to support and uplift ourselves within that space. So once we know those areas that perhaps I just don't know myself as much about, that I've been afraid of or embarrassed of, or just not taken the time to get to know, what do I love? What do I enjoy? What's the stuff that makes my soul sing? Whatever those things are that we recognize, we know very little about ourselves within that space. I want you today to just open up the opportunity for those aspects of your being to communicate to you while you're on your mat today. You know, just I'm here, I'm present, I'm ready to listen to any of those aspects of my being that choose to communicate with me today in reference to those areas of my experience, my physical experience or my human experience and energetic experience that I've chosen not to engage in, that I don't know well enough. And just give yourself the opportunity to receive whatever information might come from those higher aspects of your being, remembering that you're always in a safe space on your mat. There's nothing that can be revealed to you that would take anything away from you or put you in a space of needing to be fearful. All of these things, all of this knowledge of our own being is only to help us. It's only to give us the tools that we need to create that life experience that we want to experience more of. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So let's just come into our easy seat first and close our eyes and come into our breath. Dropping the shoulders back and down, coming along through the spine, feeling that heart space lifting up towards the chin. Crown of the head shining into the sky and sending those roots out from the sits bones. And just finding your breath, creating that equal length of inhalation to exhalation. There's a phrase inscribed in the ancient temple of Delphi, and it says, I warn you, whoever you are, O you who wish to probe the arenas of nature, if you do not find within yourself that which you seek, neither shall you be able to find it outside. If you ignore the excellencies of your own house, how do you intend to find other excellencies? In you is hidden the treasure of treasures. O man, know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and the gods. In knowing ourselves, we open up the doors of knowledge of everything that exists. All knowledge, all collective knowledge, all information about God, the universe, the earth, all knowledge is accessed from the doorway within our own being. We must know ourselves. We must know how to find that door so we can access all of those possibilities, all of that beauty. Remembering there are no parts of us that are bad. Every part of us is divine. All of those fundamental aspects of our being, not the aspects that were programmed into us or that we picked up along the way to make ourselves look a certain way, but those fundamental aspects of our being. That is beauty. That is an expression of God energy. So celebrating what we find within that space, being open to know and understand more about who and what we are in regards to those areas. Take a couple more deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And whenever you're ready, gently open those eyes, coming up on the hands and knees. We're going to come into our first posture, that child's pose, that supported child's pose. Drawing your bolster or your blanket or pillows in towards the body, dropping the hands down in front of the knees. Walk those hands up towards the top of your bolster or your props and gently rest one cheek. Closing the eyes, finding the breath, resting into that posture, using a blanket to cocoon your energy if you need to. Breathing into the back body, Breathing into the entirety of your being. Some of the questions that we can ask ourselves if we want to get to know ourselves better. We're going to go through those questions as we're in these gentle postures today. And if you don't need this guide of these questions and you already know some of those areas you want to focus on, then go ahead and just open yourself up to that energy. But if we want to get to know ourselves better and we need those prompts, ask yourself, what does your ideal day look like? What habit would you most like to break and why? Or what habit would you most like to start? What did you most want to be when you were younger? Who are you most inspired by and why? Think of a person you truly admire. What qualities do you like about that person? Take a couple deep breaths here. Come back into your body just enough so that we can come into our next posture. So pressing into the palms of the hands and drawing the upper body up and away from your bolster. We're going to press that bolster just a little bit so that we can take those knees together. And we're going to create some lift by placing some more pillows or blankets underneath that bolster so that we can have that gentle heart opener here. We're going to come into that butterfly posture. So if you have some blankets that you want to roll up underneath your knees, feel free to do that, or you can get some little pillows. We're going to turn around, place the glutes up against that bolster, release the spine down. Soles of the feet are gently resting in the earth as the knees are bent. And then we're going to exhale, drop those knees towards the side walls, placing the soles of the feet together. You can open up those arms at the side body, palms of the hands are open to receive, or place the hands on the belly itself. Just listen to your body and rest into that gentle butterfly posture, the heart opener. Closing the eyes and just grasping on to any of these questions that may feel appropriate for you today and leaving the rest. And remembering you can always come back to this exercise on another day and listen to some of these other questions again and see which ones strike you in that time. How do you like to relax? What is the most relaxing thing for you to do? When was the last time you did something you were afraid of? What was it? Why did it make you afraid? What are you most proud of? And why? What are you most afraid of and why? What are you doing to overcome that fear? Come back into your breath. Gently wiggling the fingers and toes if you need to. Take the hands to the outside of those thighs and gently pressing them back together until the soles of the feet find the earth. Pull the knees into the chest, wrap the hands around the front of the shin bones, and draw yourself upright so that we can come into our next posture. For our next posture, we're going to move our bolster out of the way. You can keep whatever pillow you want to up here at the top. We're going to come down onto your right side. And then drawing yourself into a fetal position, take a pillow or a rolled up blanket and place it between your knees, up close towards your hips to create that space between those legs that allows that spine to be more in alignment. You can do whatever you need to with your arms. You can put them both up at your head. You can take your left arm and gently rest it along the side of your body, covering up with a blanket if you need to continue to cocoon your energy, to give you the most availability for rest and restoration. And sinking into your breath. And asking yourself, if life stopped today, what would you regret not doing? If life stopped today, would you have any regrets? And what would they be? It's most certainly an area that we would want to look at so that we could. What qualities do you admire in others? Who would you like to connect or reconnect with, and why? What practical skills do you wish you had? And how can you achieve them? Slowly come back into your body just enough so that you can remove that pillow from between your legs. Roll over onto your other side in whatever way feels most comfortable and safe. And then place the pillow back between your legs, balancing out both sides of the body. Cover yourself back up with a blanket if you need to. And close your eyes and draw your attention and your awareness back inside of your own being. Imagine you're in your 90s. What memories would you like to have in your old age? What stories do you want to tell? What is your favorite book, movie, and song? Why? Change in the world. What would it be? What do you love to do for or give to others? Come back to your breath, come back to your body. Take a couple deep breaths. And removing that pillow from between the legs, pressing into the palm of your right hand and drawing yourself upright. We're going to take all of our pillows or blankets and rolled up stuff down to the bottom so that we can elevate our legs. And we're going to take a small pillow or rolled up blanket for underneath our heart space. So just a small elevation in the heart. Drawing the glutes up towards those supportive props, release your back down into the mat. You can lengthen those legs up along those pillows or blankets, and then rest your back onto that pillow. So mine's a little bit high. I'm going to adjust it so that it's directly behind my heart, that little pillow or that rolled up blanket. And then you can open your arms up at the side of your body and find your breath. You can place the hands on the belly. Just listen to your body and find that most comfortable posture. What excites you? What are those things that make your heart jump from inside your body? Those things that you look forward to. What do you wish you did more of? And can you make space in your life to engage in more of that? Pretend money is no object. What would you do? What area of your life right now makes you feel the very best? Which area makes you feel the very worst? Why? And what can you do to change it? Take a couple deep breaths. Then pulling your legs away from the props, pulling those knees into the chest, rolling over onto one side, pressing into the palm of the hand and drawing yourself upright so that we can come into our next posture. This next posture, we're just going to take those pillows up to the top of the mat, bolster for underneath the knees. Turn yourself around, adjust that bolster so that it's going to rest underneath those knees, releasing the spine down into the earth and allowing the head to find those pillows. Knees are falling to the side, totally resting into that awesome bolster, whatever pillows or blankets or props you have supporting you right now. Covering yourself up with a blanket if you need. And sinking back inside of your own being. Let's jump forward a year. What would you like to have achieved in the past year? What piece of advice would you give to a 5-year-old you? What advice would you give to a 16-year-old you? a 21-year-old you. What advice do you have for yourself right now? For our very last question of knowing thyself, how do you want to be remembered in life? Slowly and gently, whenever you're ready, come back to your body just enough so that you can come into your final Shavasana posture. So, whatever props or blankets you might need to draw yourself into that most comfortable space, whether you be laying on the floor without any props at all, or whether you keep a bolster of blankets or whatever it is that you need for underneath your head, just make sure that you're super comfortable and super safe in that final Shavasana corpse pose posture. All is within yourself. Know your most inward self and look for what corresponds with it in nature. The seed cannot sprout upwards without simultaneously sending roots into the ground. The seed includes all the possibilities of the tree. The seed will develop these possibilities, however, only if it receives corresponding energies from the sky. Grain must return to earth, die, and decompose for new growth to begin. Human, know thyself, and thou shalt know God. When you know yourself, you're empowered. When you accept yourself, you're invincible. It's not a matter of finding yourself, but rediscovering yourself under layers of judgment, doubt, and fear. So know yourself, know your power. The kingdom of heaven is within you, and whoever shall know it shall find himself. Listen to your own voice, your own soul. Too many people listen to the noise of the world. Learn to seek what you need from within your own being. Because everything changes when you begin to love yourself. You no longer send out energy of desperation or need to be filled from the outside. You become a powerful source within yourself that attracts better. The more you love who you are, the less you seek validation and approval from others. Slowly and gently coming back into your body, wiggling the fingers and toes, wrapping the hands around the wrists or the feet around the ankles. Take whatever gentle stretches you might need before you transition into an upright seated position. And then, whenever you're ready, draw the knees into the chest, rock and roll on the spine until you draw yourself in that comfortable seated upright position. We're going to finish our practice today with 3 long set nams. I am truth, truth is my name, truth is my identity, and I seek to know that truth. Take those hands into prayer pose, tuck the thumbs into the heart space, inhale deeply. Exhale completely. Inhaling to begin. Sat Nam. Sat Nam. Sat Nam. Sat Nam. Namaste. I hope that you'll use these questions to just get to be that platform for knowing ourselves better. And once we can grasp onto some of those things, or maybe we even know some of the things that we need to know those aspects of ourselves a little bit better, then we can start asking ourselves questions in reference to those situations, those aspects of our being, those parts of ourselves, and just figuring out all of those layers of who and what we are. And then the more intimately we know ourselves, the more intimately we have the ability to love the other people in our lives. When we're no longer trying to suppress or hide those aspects of our own authenticity from ourselves, we're a lot more open to receive with a whole heart and no judgment, just acceptance and allowance of what is, the people who we love and appreciate. And we can even use some of those questions with the people who we love in our lives, with our children, with our spouses, with our best friends, with our mothers, with our siblings, so use those questions not only to get to know yourself a little bit better, but even to know the people you love on a deeper level, giving yourself the availability for more intimacy and depth of connectedness. Sometimes we get so caught up in life, and even our own partner, who we think we maybe know better than any other human in the world, we stop asking those questions. We stop diving deeper. We stop peeling away the layers of who they are and what makes them tick. And not just, knowing them as who they used to be, but knowing them as who they are now through their growth, through their evolution, through the dying of the old. So take this opportunity. We're coming up on Valentine's Day now, to get to know your partner better, to really connect on that deeper level, to source that information of who and what they are at those most fundamental aspects of their being, not just who you think you know them to be. Ask the questions. Look for more questions. There's even card decks that you can get through different companies now that give you the availability to open up it more on a depth of connected, like that more depth of intimacy, to get deeper into those layers of your relationship, to know more intimate details about the people you love. So I hope that you get to knowing yourself better and knowing the people in your life on a much deeper level. Satnam Namaste. Catch you next time. Bye.